Hello guys, welcome back to John's Workshop, and in this episode, and it's not one that I've recently said was upcoming in the Blether video, but it's one that I'm busy away working on and one that I want to throw into the mix and hopefully might be useful for some people, might give some people the kick up the backside that I needed to actually get on and do this. So what are we going to do? So this is a Organise your workshop episode, that's what we'll title it, and this is a Shadowfoam review. Now I don't know, many of you may have seen Shadowfoam, some of you may not, but effectively what Shadowfoam is, it's, you can get this in different thicknesses and it comes in two colours largely. So you have one colour on the top and then a secondary colour underneath. It's built up in layers, each layer being about, I don't know, 10mm thick, bonded together, and the idea being that you cut through the top layer of foam and into the underneath layers to store your bits and pieces within drawers. And what that does by its very nature is creates a shadow board as well as a good location and a safe storage for your bits of equipment. So it's quite a bit of work actually to do this, but I've seen this stuff, I've used this stuff before actually in industry, and it's very it's well worth the effort once you put the time in. So what are we going to talk about? So largely what I'm going to be doing is my measurement gear, and the reason for that is I've got some measurement gear that I've had for donkey's years. I've got some new measurement gear that's come into the shop, so I'm in the middle of trying to organise all that and get that stored in a way that A, it's safe, and B, it's easily accessible when I need to use it. So at the moment I've got micrometers stuffed in the back of drawers that are full, and I've got to try and ferret through everything to find what I want. Not ideal. They're clattering about, some of them, because I don't have boxes with them. I've got micrometers that have come in, the old Moore and Wright style boxes like this one, where the foam has just all degraded over time and they get covered in foam and quite messy. So the options really with those are, reline the boxes with something like this, or do something slightly more different, which is what I'm going to do. So what are we going to do? I've bought myself a new set of drawers for the shop. So I'd already got one sort of roll cabinet that I've shown a long time ago now when I first purchased that. I've bought another one, not quite as good quality, but certainly ideal for what I need it for, and it's got sort of roller bearing drawers, the typical workshop style cabinet, and I've bought one that's got many thin drawers at the top and then a few sort of wider ones at the bottom. Thought being behind that to get all my measurement gear in the thin drawers at the top. So that's what we're going to be doing. And also, as suggested by one of my viewers, which I thought was a really clever suggestion, the recent videos I've done on my engraving machine that you can just see in the corner of the shop there, I was going to think about building a stand for that. This makes perfect sense. I can use the cabinet as the stand for the engraving machine to sit on top of, which means I don't have to build, paint and put together a stand. So that's just two jobs in one, and it will create me a little bit of working space next to that as well for the bits and pieces for the engraving machine, which will be good. And the final thing I'm going to chuck into this video, I do a lot of whinging and moaning about my locality here, as I'm sure you've all heard and probably got fed up of hearing about the dampness and how dreary it can be at times. But the reason we live here is because when it's not like that, there is probably no better place to be. It's such a fantastic area we live in, and that's when you get your payback. So Mrs. John's Workshop has got her own little YouTube channel, which is all about sort of our dog and sort of countryside locality and things like that. So she's found a way into making a few videos and bits and pieces. So I'm just going to get one of her very short videos. It's probably only a minute long, a couple of minutes long, something like that, and we'll put that in the middle of this episode as just a bit of an interlude, but just to give you guys a bit of a view of what we've got out of the end of our driveway when we walk out. So this is all within walking distance of where we live, where this was shot and filmed. So I thought that might be interesting for some of you. If that's not your thing, just fast forward past it. So I'll join you in a moment. Oh, before we go, so just talking Shadowfoam, I ordered my new drawers, they turned up. I ordered my Shadowfoam, and the company is actually called Shadowfoam, and that's why I've got the registered trademark symbol by it. That's the actual name of the company. Do a bit of internet research you'll find them fairly quickly. I ordered my first 2 boxes of foam, and they come in big sheets that you need to cut to fit your drawers, and then you need to secondary cut to fit all your gear in, and we'll show some of that in this video. And due to a logistical mistake by the courier, only 1 box turned up. So I got back onto Shadowfoam and said, look, I should have had 2 boxes, only got 1, can you address this please? And to credit where credit's due, within less than 12 hours they'd got back to me, very sorry for the mistake, we'll dispatch another box straight away, and you'll have that within 24 hours, we'll put it on a 24-hour courier. So that was great. And if the other box turns up ever from the courier, just keep that as well, because you might have future projects and things like that. So that was fantastic service. I'm not affiliated to them in any way, I've paid ticket price for all this stuff, so there's no freebies, I'm not sponsored. The only reason I know this is good is, as I say, because I've used it in industry. It's used in large aerospace industries that I've worked in, and most of you know where they are. And it's used at a shop floor level for organising measurement gear, tools, things like that, at machine tools, in drawer units similar to what I've just purchased. So as in with the box, I said to Shadowfoam, look, I've got a YouTube channel, I'm going to be filming a review of this, it's going to be honest and fair, as all my reviews are. It's not sponsored, so if I struggle with it and it's rubbish, I'm going to say so. And basically Shadowfoam got back to me and said, that's fantastic, we're interested in what you're doing, and they've sent me, in with the second box of foam that's come, they've sent me you get a free cutting kit with every box of foam, which consists of a surgeon's scalpel and a set of blades to go in that. So they've upgraded me with the free set to make up for the courier's cock up with a sort of the better set that you can purchase from them of cutting gear, with some cut resistant gloves, which I would really advise, because you've got surgical sharp razor blades right next to your fingers a lot of the time when you're doing this stuff. So some cut resistant gloves, some glue, and some stickers. And I'll just bring that up to the camera so that you can see the Shadowfoam logo, and so you'll recognise that when you do an internet search. So if you like what you see in this episode, go and check them out. It might be something that you want to consider doing for your own tools in your own workshop. Enough babbling, we will go over now to the new set of drawers, and I'll show you what I'm up to. Alright guys, this is the new set of drawers that I've bought. So it's a Draper set, not the cheapest, but certainly not the most expensive. So this came in a good couple of £100 cheaper than the Beta or Better or Beta or however you pronounce it set that I bought. These are really good quality drawers. These are middle of the road quality drawers, and there's some cheaper ones that you can get that are not as good quality for obvious reasons. So what you can see, what I've done in terms of the drawer selection, you can get these in different configurations. So as I said earlier, I've gone for one that's got lots of thin drawers at the top for measurement equipment, and then 2 or 3 or 4 thicker drawers at the bottom. Now these all come with one of these inside the drawers, this kind of foam stuff. Well, it's brand new and it looks great, and as anybody who's had a set of these drawers and used this stuff knows full well, because that's sitting on a painted surface in the bottom of the drawer, you put your stuff on top of it, and what happens is, in a very short space of time, every time you shut the drawer, with the weight of the stuff sat on top of it, it slides backwards and slides backwards and slides backwards, and it all ends up crunched up at the back of the drawer, and it's just a mess. It's just horrible. So I'm getting rid of all of that. That will come in useful for packaging material for if I'm sending stuff away to other people. So basically what we're doing is lining the drawers with the Shadowfoam, as I showed earlier, and so there's a section of it there that I've got my knife in, and I'd advise you to do that when you're not using the knife. These things are incredibly sharp, so just keep a bit of that. So you can see this is something I cut off the edges to get it to fit the drawers. Keep the knife in a bit of that just so there's no damage to your fingers. The cut resistant gloves, so I'm just going to go through some hints and tips that I've picked up from doing this. Really, you don't need 2, you need 1. and you need it on the hand if you're left-handed, you need it on your right hand, and if you're right-handed you need it on your left hand. And I would advise you never to switch hands. If you're used to using your right hand to do cutting operations, make sure you do all the cutting with whether you're left-handed or right-handed. The minute you swap over, you will get a different type of cut and it won't be as neat, and you are at more risk of hurting yourself because you're not used to the same sort of motor movements with your other hand. So that's just a bit of advice. You might be ambidextrous and you might need both gloves, who knows. The blades come with, they come in each one wrapped in a paper sort of wallet, and what I would advise, and we're just about to put a new blade on here because the one that's on has done quite a bit of work. There's ways you can put these on. They fit quite, if you've never seen one of these sort of surgical scalpels before, the blades fit in quite a funny way. So they're basically pulled onto the front of the scalpel and then kind of clicked in behind this. You can see this bit in the middle, and there's a temptation to want to try and slide it on with your fingers and push it into place. Do not do that. If it slips, you're going to lose one of your finger ends. These are immensely sharp. I would, the easiest way that I've found to do it is to grip, to both take off and put on the blade, grip this back edge of the blade here with a pair of pliers, lift it up and then just slide it off like that. Nice and simple. You're sliding away from yourself, so you're not going to hurt yourself. And putting a new blade on is just the reverse of that process. So we'll get the new blade out now, and we just grip it at the same section at that back end. Hope if it was on camera, so you can see how I've got that now. Slide it onto the, I hope we've had it the right way around. Slide it onto the scalpel, and then just drop that back end in place. Simple as that, no danger, no risk of cutting myself. So nice and easy. As I say, do not be tempted to try and push it on with your fingers, because it's stiff, and B, if you slip you're going to lose bits of your hand. So what we'll do now is I'm going to open, I've done quite a bit of this already. I'm going to open one drawer and I'm going to fit one micrometer into there and show you the process, and I'll walk you through how the sort of ways that I've found of using this. They're probably not the right ways, if I'm honest, but it's the way that's working for me. So I'll walk you through that, and then we'll stand back and I'll show some of the benefits of this that I've seen, and I've seen them before, and that's why I've gone for it, as I said, and possibly some of the drawbacks of this system as well. Right, this is going to be quite a bit more difficult for me because I'm working with the camera in the way now, but you can basically see the idea. So you can see where I've put the micrometers in. I've got, so for this is an adjustable micrometer with different anvils and all the setting pieces all in place, and it doesn't matter how hard I shut that drawer, there's no rattling about, nothing's rattling about and banging. It all stays put where it should do, and to grab a micrometer out of there is dead easy. Everything's where you need it. So that's the benefit of it, or some of the benefits. We'll discuss in more detail the other benefits later. What I would suggest you do with mics is get them all down to almost shut position to minimise on the space that you use, and basically lay your micrometer out. So what I did to start with these drawers was laid everything out, so I understood the best fit of everything, and then removed, took a photograph of that, removed the bits out of the way that I wasn't cutting and just focused on the ones that I was, and then gradually build the drawer back up that way. So I'll get my cut resistant glove on, and we're going to fit this 5 to 6 inch micrometer in here now. So get it into position, and basically you should be creating a profile here. So you've got to start at one known position and work all the way around the outside and then all the way around the inside until you get back to the start point. That's how I've been doing it. So hold the thing down, try and keep your vertical cuts vertical, so don't be coming in at an angle, and just basically all you're doing here is holding the knife up against the up against the micrometer or the tool or whatever it is that you're fitting, and just basically trace round nice and gently round the outside. So there we go, that's got us all around the outside, and then the process now is firstly to remove the black stuff. So you know, what I've done with mics is I just get under the very end of the profile, give it a bit of a cut, pick that end up, and basically pull the foam until I get to where the arch piece is here, and stop at that point. Go and find the other end of the anvil, which is there, same idea. Just get underneath it, give it a bit of a cut to lift it, and meet what you've done from the other end. And then it's just a case of, and what I'd advise you to do with this is, when you're tearing the black stuff off, always tear almost perpendicular to the profile, and that's difficult to explain, but you'll see the direction I'm tearing. So I'm now going to tear out the arch shape. What you don't want to be doing is tearing side to side. While you're doing that, you need to be tearing round the profile. So you can see I'm keeping the direction in line with the cut all the way around. And there you go, you can see the shadow effect created by that. So quite clearly, if I open this drawer now, I can see very quickly see there's a micrometer missing. It's very obvious when the micrometer goes in. That shadow just works like a shadow board. Now with the mics, that's not quite deep enough. I like to sink them in a bit deeper. So the next job now is to go around and get rid of some of the blue stuff, and that's the hard bit, to get you a bit more depth. So what I'm doing is just going around the profile again, just sinking the blade in a little bit further into the blue, like that. And then the next job is to lay the knife at the shallowest angle you can, so sort of 15-20 degrees, and just again you're cutting into that deep cut that you've just done all the way around, trying to keep the angle as much the same as you can all the way around. And I am changing hands here now just because of how difficult this is. Again, another tip I would advise, I'm doing this in the drawers, which is lazy. You know, what I should really do is take the whole foam square out and put it up on the bench where you're working at a proper working height, but I'm just doing this in the drawers. So remove the arcs of foam that you've just cut. And then same process again on the inside, and then there's a bit in the middle to take out. I'll not show that, it's the same as what I've just shown you. And then the same thing here. So on this bit, it's difficult to get in at 15 degrees because the back edge of the blade is going to end up cutting the black stuff. So at this side, what I've been doing is really going in at sort of 45 degrees, which is what it tells you to do in the instructions actually, all the way around. Where you can and where you can't, I'm going in at 45 degrees. So, yeah, if this was up on the bench, this would be easy to get all the way around it, but I'm just going at 45 degrees that way, again into the cut that I've made, and then just start removing the bits of foam like this out of what you've just cut. So I'll finish this one off camera now. Now I've shown you what I'm doing, otherwise it'll be a bit boring, and I'll bring you back once we've got it complete. Right guys, there we go, that's got our profile cut out, so another 5 minutes off camera, if that, to get that. So we're now good, we can just drop that micrometer in, give it a bit of a push, and that's that perfectly in place in the drawer. So in this drawer now we've got 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 12 in Imperial, and the only thing I've yet to put into these drawers is in each drawer I'm just going to put a couple of the micrometer spanners for setting, or I might just put them in one drawer. I've not made my mind up yet. The beauty of this stuff is, you know, you can add to it. There's plenty of space left around the outside. Obviously no space for any more big micrometers, but there's still space left in the foam to put standards or, you know, setting pieces or whatever else, spanners, that kind of thing. And then you've got everything together in one place, all where you need it. Alright guys, we're just going to do a bit of just a scenario thing here, and for the keen-eyed amongst you who thought that the space station, the International Space Station, was actually, you know, out in space, you can clearly see it's not, it's here. This is my new look garage door with some insulation on it, which is working well. So anyway, digressing. So I'm on the lathe, I'm turning something up. I want a micrometer. With a set of drawers like this, traditionally without Shadowfoam, this is pretty much how it goes. So I'm going to go to my drawer. I've got a load of boxes of stuff, so let's say I want a 5 to 6 micrometer. I've first got to find the box. I've then either got to balance it on top of my other boxes, or I've got to put it up on the top, which then means I can't have my engraving machine on there. I've got to open the box, get my micrometer out, do my measurement, put my micrometer back in the box while I'm doing more measurements, and then when I'm finished I've then got to shut the box up, fit it back in amongst all the other boxes that are rattling around, and shut the drawer. So that's typical, and I'm sure most of you who've got shops will relate to that. So I'll bring you back in a moment and show you how much simpler that is with the Shadowfoam. So same scenario. We're back on the lathe again. I want a 4 to 5 inch micrometer to measure something. Go to the right drawer, pull it out, grab my micrometer, measure what I want to measure, put it back in. Simple as that, as many times as I want. Shut the drawer when I'm finished. No boxes, no clattering about, no trying to find space to open a box, you know, and especially with boxes this big for these type of micrometers. They're big boxes. To try and drag one of those out of a drawer and open them and mess around, very difficult. But again, you know, so simple. Get the micrometer out, have it set, do what you need to do, chuck it back in the drawer, shut the drawer. It's literally that easy. It's so much easier. So that's one of the benefits, one of the biggest benefits. Other benefits that I can think of, you know, when I come to move in the workshop in a few years' time, I lock the drawers up and wheel them into the back of a van. No collecting up of stuff to do, boxing up of stuff to do, all self-contained in the drawers, nice and easy. Another benefit that I can think of is if I was fortunate enough, as some of the guys on YouTube are, to have a huge workshop, which I don't, and I want to take my measuring kit, let's say I've got 4 or 5 different bits of measuring kit I need on a particular job, over to the far corner of the workshop where I'm working. It's in a roll cab. Just, you know, just drag it and take it with you. Take it to whichever machine you want it to go to. All your measurement kit's there where you need it. So, you know, there's lots of benefits to this. I think the other benefits worth pointing out are this stuff doesn't absorb moisture. It's oil resistant. It's hard wearing, and it's, you know, you can expand it, as I said earlier, to more things as you need to go. So you know, I've seen it before and used it before, and that's how I knew it's what I wanted to do for my stuff. So what I'm going to do is continue on, and for now I'm just doing my micrometers, because after I've done that I'm going to want a break from cutting foam, if I'm honest, because it is quite a task. And what I'm doing with each mic is cleaning them up, making sure they're all good, checking them, setting them, that kind of thing as I'm going as well, so I know everything in there's in good order when it's in there. I've got more stuff to put in, but obviously I'm not going to film that. So what we'll do, I'm just going to point out one of the maybe the disadvantages of this now. It's probably an advantage and a disadvantage, so we'll just point that out now. So we'll deal with the advantages. The advantage first. So this is the micrometer box for the 6 to 12 inch mic that I've just shown you, the last one that I put away. So if you look at the size of that box to contain that one mic and all the setting pieces and anvils, if I open one of these drawers up, this one, and I was to put this box into one of these drawers, if you look at the space it takes up, that takes the entire drawer up just for that one micrometer. And that's if it would fit in depth wise. It might just about fit into these narrow drawers. You can look in there, I've got 3 micrometers in there, so you're getting a lot more bang for your buck in terms of space by using the Shadowfoam than you do by storing the stuff in the boxes. So that's the advantage, and I'll bring you back in a moment and talk about the disadvantage, the main disadvantage of this. So here's the disadvantage. So I've got all these, so for all my micrometers, and I've expanded that slightly. I've got my 3 vernier caliper boxes that I've yet to find. You know, I've got yet to do the work for within the foam for the verniers, but largely same deal. Take the verniers out of the box and just store them in the foam. So these will be empty boxes. So you can see there, this big pile of boxes I've now got gives me a bit of a problem, because A, I've got to find somewhere to store them all, because I don't want to chuck them out, because who knows, at some point I might want to, you know, move one of these on, give one away, sell one, whatever it might be, or I might want to, if I eventually pack up doing this, I might want to sell all my micrometers or pass them on to somebody else in, you know, many years to come or whatever. So I don't want to get rid of these boxes, because they're all, they're in various different states of good. You know, some are good and some aren't good, some are pretty tatty inside, but they are still going to protect the piece of equipment even if they get them covered in degraded foam. So I now need to find somewhere to store these, which I've got some big plastic boxes and with lids, so these are going to get boxed up in a plastic box and stored safely in either in the house, in the attic, or in the shed next door or something like that, but somewhere where they're going to be safe from damp too much and any further degradation. So that's the problem it gives you. You know, you've now got all of that additional storage space to find somewhere. Could just chuck them out and say hang it, you know, hang it all. I'm going to be doing this for a good few years, and cabinets where I'm staying, you know, for my use, I'm never going to put them back in the boxes, but it's, you know, it just seems a shame to get rid of these, so these will be getting kept and boxed up. And the last thing, I don't think I'll have any problem finding somewhere to put that. So with that being said, the next thing I will do is bring you back just shortly when I've got all of the, certainly the micrometers done. I'm going to label the drawers up so that I know the ranges of micrometers in which drawer. I mean, eventually I'll get used to that and won't need the labels, but for a start I'm just going to label them up. So I'll bring you back once I've done the rest of the cutting, got all the mics in and got the drawers labelled up, show you that, and then we'll wrap this episode up. Alright guys, slight faux pas with the labelling system, so you'll see the labels have come back off because some clown that put them on decided he was going to put them all on the wrong way round. So we've taken those off and we'll do those again slower time, but for the sake of this video you get the idea. I'm going to just label up what's in them for now until I get used to what's in each drawer. So if I just run through what I've done in these middle two drawers here is I've put all my small both imperial and metric mics together, because those are going to be the two go-to drawers largely for most stuff I do in the workshop. And then straddling that I've got my bigger imperial and metric stuff, which will probably be less used but still used either side of that. Now I'll play around with that configuration and we'll see how that works. So we'll start with the smaller stuff. So this is my metric, and that's 0 to 100 millimeters in metric in there, and as you can see, plenty of space to add a few more if I need to. And then above that is my metric, 100 millimeters to 300 millimeters, so that's everything from 0 to 300, all nicely stored. And then below that, same deal but imperial, so we go everything from 0 to 4 inches in there, and then below that everything from 4 inches up to 12 inches. And again, if you look at the two large ones, I've laid them out exactly the same in both, so even whether I'm working metric or imperial, eventually I'll get to know exactly where the mics are without needing to look. So that's what I've done so far. So yeah, happy with them. It's, you know, as I said, I'm used to Shadowfoam from many years ago, not seen it for a lot of time if I'm honest, but used to seeing it in industry, used to using it, and as I said before, dead easy. Get the micrometer out, drop it back in, everything's safe, nothing's rattling around in the drawers, plenty more space usage than in the boxes. Yeah, happy with that. As you can see, nice and simple. Go and check them out, and if you fancy having a go at it, have a go. I've shown you how I've done it. It's not difficult, and the benefits will last a lifetime. So we'll just finish this episode off now, and that'll be it for organising your workshop. So there we go guys, that's it for this episode of Organise Your Workshop and the Shadowfoam review. So just again, for anybody who's not seen Shadowfoam, go and check them out on the internet. As I said, I'm not affiliated in any way. There's been no freebies with this. This is all bought and paid for out of my own pocket, and I've used it in the past, so I know it's good. So I'm really pleased with what I've done. It's a lot of hard work, to be honest, if you're doing a full set of drawers, and I've got much more to do. I've only done 4 drawers out of about 12 that I need to do in total, so I've got the rest of those drawers to do over time, but I've had quite enough of cutting foam, if I'm honest, for the last few nights. So we've got all my micrometers done now, all nicely cleaned up, reset, calibrated with the kit, you know, not calibrated to any international standards, but calibrated to the kit that I've got in the workshop, so I'm quite comfortable that they're certainly more than good enough for what I'm going to be using them for, and all neatly stored away in the new liners in the drawers. So I hope you've enjoyed that, something a little bit different, and we will join you all very soon on another video when we'll be making something else, which will hopefully be back onto the Mark flame liquor engine build, or it could be I've got one other job that's come into the workshop for a neighbour, so I've got that to do as well. So it could be one of those two things, but I really do want to get back onto the Mark engine build, so it will probably be back on that. So thank you all again for watching, and I'll catch you all very soon.